going on, kids? Pastor Jacob here with another midweek video. Are you ready to see something cool? I have this rock, and I'm about to turn this rock into a piece of bread. Are you ready? Now I'm gonna eat it. I'm just kidding. It's still a rock. I can't turn it into bread. You silly kids. Our Bible story today, Jesus is asked to turn some rocks into bread by an unwanted visitor. Let's jump into our video and see what happens.
Hello friends, I'm Megan. And I'm Jessie. Jessie, what's wrong? You seem a little down.
I am. I got in trouble for riding my bike in the street, so my dad took my bike away.
Oh, again, Jessie?
Yeah, it's just so hard, Megan. I know it's dangerous, but I get going so fast and I just want to go a little bit further.
I understand, Jessie. We are sinners, so we want to sin. But we have someone who can help us say no to sin.
We do?
Yes, Jesus. In today's Bible story, Jesus was tempted to sin, but he did not sin. Because Jesus never sinned and was punished for us, God will forgive us when we sin. We can even ask Jesus to help us not sin, and he will help us.
Wow, that's good news. I am gonna ask Jesus to help me not ride my bike in the street.
Great idea, Jessie. Now, let's listen to the story. After Jesus was baptized, God's Spirit led him into the wilderness. Jesus stayed in the wilderness for many days. He prayed to God and thought about God's plan for his life. Jesus did not eat anything while he was in the wilderness, and he was very hungry. The devil came to tempt Jesus. He tried to get Jesus to do wrong things. The devil said, "If you are really God's son, tell these stones to become bread." If Jesus used his power to turn the stones into bread, he could eat the bread. Then he wouldn't be hungry anymore. But Jesus said no. He trusted God to give him what he needed. Then Jesus said, "This is what the Bible says. Man must not live only on bread, but on all the words God says." Jesus did not sin, so the devil tried again. He took Jesus to the top of the temple in Jerusalem. The devil said, "If you are really God's son, prove it. Jump off the top of the temple. God will protect you." Then the devil said, "The Bible says God will order his angels to keep you safe, and they will protect you so that you will not even trip on a stone." Again, Jesus said no. Jesus knew the devil was trying to trick him by misusing God's words. The devil was being foolish. Jesus said, "The Bible also says, do not test God." Finally, the devil took Jesus to a high mountain where they could see land stretched out far and wide. The kingdoms in the land were great. The devil said, "Look, I will give you all the money and power of these great kingdoms. All you have to do is fall down and worship me." Jesus said, "No, go away," he said. "The Bible says, only worship God and only serve God." So the devil went away. Angels came to help Jesus and serve him. In all of these things, Jesus never sinned. The devil tried to get Jesus to sin, but Jesus never sinned. Jesus always did the right thing. Jesus died on the cross to rescue us from sin. When we are tempted to sin, we can ask Jesus to help us say no to sin.
Whoa, what a story! Jesus was tempted by the devil. Do you know what it means to be tempted? In this story, to be tempted is when we're given the choice to sin. And remember, sin means to disobey God. So for example, let's say your mom has made some super delicious cookies. They're straight out of the oven and they're just so warm and gooey, and oh, you can just smell the cookies right now, can't you? Oh, I love chocolate chip cookies straight from the oven. But your mom comes to you. She says, no cookies until after dinner. The cookies look so good and they're just right there, and you could just easily grab one and no one would have to know that you had just one cookie before dinner. That's being tempted. Being tempted to do something that you know that you should not do. Now, one of the super cool things about Jesus is that he never sins. Not even once. Even when the devil was with him trying to tempt him to sin. Us, on the other hand, well, we've all sinned before, haven't we? But what is great about this story is that Jesus shows us how we can be prepared to fight temptation. Let's look at what Jesus was doing. Jesus was fasting and praying. Fasting means that Jesus was not eating any food. He was focused on God and on praying to God. This is so important to point out because Jesus is showing us that talking and focusing on God is even more important than eating. Now, Jesus was never going to sin, but we are very likely to sin, aren't we? And Jesus is showing us that spending time focusing on God and spending time praying is a great way to fight temptation. We can't listen to God if we never spend time with him and hear what he has to say. Next, Jesus uses verses to fight temptation. The devil tried to get Jesus to do all sorts of stuff that Jesus should not have done. And every time, Jesus was able to use a verse from the Bible to show the devil how he was wrong. But even the devil used the Bible. Did you catch that in the video? The devil told Jesus that God said that he would send his angels to guard Jesus. And the Bible does say that in Psalm 91 verses 11 and 12. But Jesus knew that even though that is what the Bible says, the Bible also says not to test God in Isaiah chapter 7 verse 12. So even though the Bible does say God will send his angels, it also says don't just go around testing God. The devil was taking the Bible and he was twisting it to say whatever he wanted it to say. And that's not okay. The devil tried 3 times to get Jesus not to listen to God, but every time Jesus refused. He knew that obeying God was the most important thing, and we should always remember that whenever we're faced with temptation. Do you remember how Jesus was ready to fight off temptation? First, he listened to God by reading the Bible and also by talking with God through prayer. And I think that is great advice for all of us to take. So, next time you find yourself in a spot where maybe those cookies straight from the oven are sitting there and they're just calling your name, or you're tempted to do something that you know that you shouldn't, try praying to God and ask him for help. And I bet he'll help you get out of that temptation. I've enjoyed so much going through this lesson with all of you. See you soon. Bye.